Yo, what is good, YouTube? Swiftly here back with another NBA 2K25 video, and in today's video I have another episode of Rare Builds for you guys. Now in today's episode I got a little bit of a weird one on you guys. I got our first ever rebounder build in NBA 2K25. Now I'm very candid on this channel. I always tell you guys like my truthful and honest opinions, and just sort of like the rebounding perimeter defender. I might drop a link down below so you guys can see what build that I'm talking about here on the channel. But I told you guys with that build, like, yes, it's a very rare build name. You won't see many people at all running with that build. But to me, the build was absolute garbage. It was trash, and I wouldn't recommend any of y'all make this build unless y'all going to tweak it and make it decent. And the same thing, I'm pretty much saying the same exact thing with this build. It's called just Rebounder, and that's pretty much all this build can do or excel at is rebounding. Every other stat is pretty much garbage besides maybe the physicals. So I'm just giving you guys this blueprint just so that you can get the name Rebounder if there's anybody out there that wants the crazy build name of just Rebounder, you know what I'm saying, as a meme build, as a funny type of, you know, build, like how we make the prospect builds and stuff like that. Then yeah, you can have a Rebounder build, but other than that, I personally wouldn't recommend any of you guys make this build. With that being said though, let's jump right into this build. So I made this build at the center position. I went 6'8", I went 245, and then I went 6'8" on the wingspan, and then I went with these following attributes. We went 74 on the close shot, we went 75 on the layup, we went 73 on the driving dunk, we went 75 on the standing dunk, and then we went 74 on the post control. Now ordinarily these are kind of similar stats that we would go with, but you're going to see in a minute why I say this build is trash. Now, ordinarily, again, like I said, this is usually the threshold you're shooting for on some builds where the primary strength of the build might be defense, it might be passing, it might be shooting, but these shorter, smaller thresholds are usually what we go for so that we're not one-dimensional. You know, on a build that has a 90-something three ball, we usually go with like a 70, 75 layup so that we can do, you know, a little finishing, or 73 driving dunk so we can get a little bronze posterizer so we can get some dunks down there or whatever, or like a 72 standing dunk, not because we're going to really be in the paint, but just off a pick and roll, we want to be able to finish down low and whatnot. These are the type of stats that you normally see on builds like that. But here's why I'm saying this is kind of trash though, because moving on to the shooting part, you know, we're only going with a 73 on the midi and a 73 on the three ball. So, you know, you're not going to really be doing too much finishing down low. You know, you got some decent finishing, but nothing great or amazing. And then when it comes to shooting, you don't have any crazy shooting either. You got, you know, average at best shooting with the 73 midi and the 73 three ball. We do have a 90-something free throw, 98 free throw, which you can bring that down and put that elsewhere if you want, but I just went with a 98 free throw just because we had to put stuff, you know, in certain attributes or different ratings, because if you don't, it changes the build name and you won't get the name just Rebounder. Moving on to the playmaking, we do have, you know, really weird playmaking in the sense that we just reached 72 across the boards. I tried to go a little bit higher, but putting any of these attributes a little bit higher to reach a badge threshold usually change the name from Rebounder to something else. So that's why I had to go with 72, 72, 72. Otherwise I would have tried to go, you know, 80, 75, and then like a 78, but that would change the name and give us a certain name other than Rebounder. So we can't do that, although those would be the thresholds I would go for playmaking. Moving on to defense, so it's very similar as well too. We're going 72, 72, 72 across the board. Just again, so if you go any higher than this on certain attributes, whether it's steal, perimeter defense, interior defense, it changes the name from Rebounder to like two-way to like board hunting and stuff like that. So again, with a build like this, you have to be very particular with how you tweak it and which attribute you raise, because just raising one attribute just 1 point, it can change the whole name of the build, you know. Moving on to our rebounding, we do have an 83 maxed out D board, and then for the O board we do have a 68 on the rebound. And again, this is another thing that you have to be careful with, because if you go too high on defense and O board, your name then becomes board hunting. You get the board hunting name by having high D board and high O board. So that was something else that we also had to be very careful with when we're tweaking this build. You don't want to change the name to board hunting rebounder or something like that, or board hunting something, so you got to be careful again with these attributes. And then finally, for the physicals, we went all out with the physicals, which was nice. Physicals don't really change too much on the build, so I was able to go 85 speed. I went 79 agility. I went 92 on the strength, which was nice to see that we was able to get like a high level strength on this build. And then we also went 94 or 93, I think 94 on the vertical. So you see this build does have really good physicals. You got some decent rebounding as well too. Everywhere else you're just going to be average or below average at best. You can knock down some, you can knock the hell out of some free throws as well too, but you're not going to really be doing too much, anything too crazy. I do like the fact that, the finishing is decent enough to where you could finish down low. You can kind of slash and be a rim runner, especially with real player percentage layups. The only thing I could really think about this, this build is that if this is a build that you make, not saying you should make this, but if this was a build that you made as like a funny build name or as a funny build to have, you can kind of make this build a little bit better with cap breakers in certain areas. You know what I mean? Like if you get 5 cap breakers and you take those 5 cap breakers and you put like 2 into perimeter defense, now you're looking at on-ball minutes and pick dodger. You put some into your steal, now you're looking at silver glove, you know what I mean? And then you put some into your, 5 into your 3-point, now you're looking at silver set shot specialist. There's just a different multitude of things that you can go with or do to kind of make this build a little bit better. You go +5 when you're driving a layup, and now you got silver physical finisher, so there's just different places that you could jump around to, even going post control or something a little bit higher, post control, standing dunk. You just have different routes that you can go with this build. But again, even then, I still don't recommend any of you guys make this build at all, okay? Of course, when we create our build, we'll see the shades of and the absolute disrespect to Alperen Sengun, I believe that's how you say his name, Anthony Davis, and Bam Adebayo. Just absolute disrespect to these people, because they're way better than just this build or the build rebounder. But of course, our build name is Rebounder, so there you have it. This is my Rebounder build for NBA 2K25. Please be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe for more NBA 2K25 content, and of course more rare builds like this. I'm out, y'all. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.